Before you scroll, before you skip, understand this. What you're about to hear might offend your ego, but it will free your mind. Because the truth is, you're not angry because of people. You're angry because you haven't realized how much control you've been giving away. Every time someone gets under your skin, that's not strength, that's exposure. That's proof that your emotions can be triggered, manipulated, and used against you without your permission even being questioned. And the worst part, you've been calling it normal. But what if I told you that there are people walking this world right now who cannot be provoked? Not because they avoid conflict, not because they're weak, but because they've mastered something most people never even become aware of. A level of control where no insult, no disrespect, no situation has the power to disturb their inner state. Imagine what that feels like. No overthinking, no emotional reactions you regret later. No losing your peace over people who don't even deserve your attention. That level exists, but it requires a shift that most people are too uncomfortable to make. And if you stay here until the end, you're going to see exactly why you've been getting angry, how people have been controlling you without you realizing it, and more importantly, how to take that control back in a way that makes you untouchable. So don't just listen casually, because this might be the moment you stop reacting like everyone else and start thinking like someone no one can control. Let's go deeper into something most people misunderstand at a fundamental level: anger. You've been conditioned to believe that anger is a form of strength, that it's a justified response when someone crosses a line, disrespects you, or challenges your position. It feels powerful in the moment, doesn't it? Your voice gets louder, your body tightens, your presence expands. It gives you the illusion that you're taking control of the situation. But look closer. What's actually happening in that moment is not control. It's a loss of it, because the instant someone else's words or actions dictate your emotional state, they've taken the steering wheel of your mind. You're no longer acting with intention, you're reacting out of impulse. And impulse is never power. Impulse is vulnerability disguised as strength. Think about the last time you were angry. Not just mildly irritated, but genuinely angry. Your thoughts became faster, but not clearer. Your decisions felt urgent, but not necessarily wise. You said things you later had to justify or regret. In that state, you weren't operating at your highest level, you were operating at your most exposed. That's the part no one talks about. Anger lowers your precision. It clouds your judgment. It narrows your perspective until all you can see is the immediate threat to your ego. And when your ego is threatened, your mind goes into defense mode. But defense mode is reactive by nature. It doesn't create outcomes. It only tries to protect identity. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The person who made you angry might not even be in control of themselves. They could be acting out of insecurity, frustration, or their own lack of discipline. Yet in that moment, you allow their lack of control to become your lack of control. You mirror their chaos instead of maintaining your clarity. So now there are two people in the situation who are not in control. And that never leads anywhere productive. Real power operates differently. Real power is quiet. It's deliberate. It doesn't rush to respond because it doesn't feel the need to defend itself at every turn. When you're truly in control, you can pause. You can observe. You can choose your response instead of being dragged into one. That pause, that small gap between stimulus and response, is where your power lies. Most people never develop that gap. Their reaction is immediate, automatic, predictable. And because it's predictable, it can be manipulated. If someone knows exactly what will trigger you, they don't need strength to control you. They just need the right words. Now think about what that means. If your anger can be triggered on demand, then your emotional state is not yours. It's outsourced to whoever understands your weaknesses. That's not power. That's dependence. And the shift you need to make is simple, but not easy. You have to stop viewing anger as something that serves you and start seeing it as something that exposes you. Every reaction reveals a boundary you haven't strengthened yet. Every outburst highlights a place where your identity is still fragile. This doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect or allow people to walk over you. It means you respond with clarity instead of chaos. You address situations with intention, not emotion. You choose words that solve problems instead of escalating them. Because when you're calm, you see more. You understand more. You position yourself better. Calmness is not the absence of action. It's the foundation of effective action. And here's the paradox: the less you feel the need to prove your strength through anger, the more powerful you actually become. People start to notice that you don't react the way others do. They can't predict you. They can't provoke you easily. And that uncertainty creates respect, even if it's unspoken. Because deep down, everyone recognizes discipline when they see it. So the next time you feel anger rising, don't suppress it and don't express it blindly. Study it. Ask yourself what exactly is being threatened: your reputation, your ego, your sense of control. And then ask a more important question: does this situation truly deserve access to my emotional state? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And when you begin to operate from that awareness, something shifts. You stop being a reactor and start becoming a strategist. You move through situations with intention instead of impulse. You protect your energy instead of spending it carelessly. Because at the highest level, control is not about controlling others. It's about refusing to lose control of yourself. And once you understand that, you'll realize something that changes everything. The moment you master your anger is the moment no one else can master you. Now, once you begin to understand that anger is not power, the next layer becomes even more important: recognizing how people gain power over you in the first place. And it's simpler than you think. It's not through force. It's not through dominance. It's through your reaction. Most people are not trying to control you directly. They don't need to. All they need is access to your emotions. And the easiest way to get that access is to provoke you. A comment, a tone, a look, a subtle act of disrespect. Small triggers designed to pull you out of your center. And the moment you react, the transaction is complete. You've given them what they wanted. Because a reaction is not just an emotional response. It's validation. It tells the other person, you matter enough to affect me. It tells them they've found a way into your mental space. And once someone knows they can get a reaction out of you, they don't need to guess anymore. They've found your entry point. That's why you'll notice something if you observe people closely. The more reactive someone is, the more they get tested. People push them more, challenge them more, disrespect them more. Not always consciously, but instinctively. Because human nature is wired to explore boundaries. And when your boundary is emotional and easily triggered, it invites pressure. On the other hand, the person who remains composed, who doesn't react impulsively, who doesn't give away their internal state so easily, that person becomes difficult to engage with on a superficial level. There's no easy access point, no predictable button to press. And when there's no reaction, something interesting happens. The other person loses momentum. Think about it. Conflict requires participation. It needs energy from both sides to survive. One person throws something out, an insult, a provocation, a challenge, and it only grows if the other person feeds it with a reaction. But if that reaction never comes, the situation collapses on its own. Silence, in that context, is not avoidance, it's control. It's a conscious decision to not participate in something that doesn't serve you. Now, this doesn't mean you never respond. It means you choose when and how to respond. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is immediate, emotional, and unfiltered. Response is measured, intentional, and aligned with your long-term position. And that difference is everything. Because when you respond instead of react, you're no longer operating at the level of the provocation. you're operating above it. You're deciding the direction of the interaction instead of being pulled into it. But to get there, you have to let go of something that most